Amy Pleasant, and I'm standing in my studio in Birmingham, Alabama, and making this video with Laney Contemporary, where my exhibition Echo has been up in Savannah, Georgia since January. We were unable to have the closing reception and do the artist talk and the book signing. So today I'm going to talk about my book and show you some of my favorite parts in it and talk a little bit about how it came together. So this is it here. This is The Messenger's Mouth Was Heavy. And my collaborator, Michael Aberman, an amazing graphic designer, co-curated an exhibition that I was in a couple of years ago and reached out to me about a year and a half ago or so to ask me if I was interested in working on a book with him, because he felt like my work would translate really well into that form. And I've always been interested in writing forms, pictograms, ideograms, hieroglyphics. And so I thought it was a perfect way to kind of take the work into another medium. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with my ceramics, but I make these folded forms that are flat, but they stand in 3 dimensions. And one of the things that I loved was that he designed this folded book cover, the front and the back. So they fold out to kind of complete the image on the front cover, and then also one of my leg drawings on the back cover. That's one element of the book that I thought was a really beautiful design. You'll also notice on the front we have regular font here, and Michael's genius actually created a typeface using only my drawings as each letter of the alphabet. You can see more of that inside the book. All of my work is based on my drawing practice, and so some of my drawings, this is kind of how my work starts, are making tiny drawings like this, which you can see are basically maybe 4 inches by 6 inches. And we included tiny works on paper in the book, large works on paper, but also we included banners that some of them were 8 feet, and you can see some of my larger paintings here. This is a 62 by 72 inch painting. So one of the things we really played with was scale. And, one of his concerns was how much freedom he had, with my images. And I was like, wow, I just want you to be creative and play. Let's play with scale. So he really played around with how to lay the book out, how to lay images out. And it was great for me to see how somebody else kind of saw, relationships or pairs, and how he put the pages together. So I also work in series, and so I will draw maybe the same image over and over and over again from different vantage points. And so you will see a lot of the series grouped together. He also played with these beautiful colors, toned papers. And if anybody's ever seen my work in person, I stain pieces of arches paper with ink and maybe drops of color. And I brush it on, wipe it off, let it dry before I draw the images in gouache on them. So really, when you see the works in person, you see real nuanced changes in color, like this one. Some are warmer, some are cooler. He also kind of structured the book going by certain series of work, like torsos or legs or hands. And I'll just kind of flip through a little bit here. And 2 wonderful friends and 2 wonderful writers, Katie Gia and Daniel Fuller, two curators and writers that I've worked with on exhibitions in the past, very generously wrote some beautiful essays that are included in this book. And back to talking about the scale, a lot of these drawings you would never know if they were tiny. Some of them are 2 inches by 3 inches or large ones. So we made sure in the back of the book to include an index by series, and you can see that some of them are 26 by 40, or like this one is 5.5 inches by 4 inches. And so I think that kind of really helps you, kind of understand the range of the works. Some of the pages are left blank, and you can see here, this is similar to how I make my drawings, where I tape them down to stain them. So really, he tried a lot to stay true to how I make the work. So it was this really great back and forth for about a year and a half, where he would play around with the images, send them to me, and then I would respond until we had a completed book. So this is a 62 by 72 inch painting that's actually in the Laney Contemporary Show. And then this is also in the Laney Show, which is a tiny little 4 by 5 inch drawing. And here you'll see some of the canvas banners are also included. So I have a couple of favorite parts of the book I just thought I would share with you. Here, actually, these 6 drawings right here that were a stepping off point for some larger works are here laid out in this. And then I love how he would stack certain images that mirror each other, because I use mirroring a lot in my work. And then here are some of the larger ones. So these are 22 by 30 inch drawings. So another one of my favorite parts is, I was speaking before about my ceramic sculpture. So I love the way he laid out some of the pages here and really played with the gutter. So you can see my sculptures are, they're cut out of rolled slabs of clay, and then I put them together and stand them up. So they're standing mostly on a 90-degree angle. Some of them are less than that, but the gutter, the actual book, mimics the shape of the sculptures, and so I really loved this section. But also with the sculptures, I keep a sketchbook of ideas of shapes that I want to try to play around with clay. And here's the sketchbook. And so I was telling Michael about it, and he says, oh my gosh, send me scans of that. Because what I like to do is I like to work on a folded piece of paper so I can kind of see what shape the sculpture would be if it was standing up in space. So we decided that we would try to recreate the sketchbook as close to scale as we could, and we also did scored pages, which I really love. So you can actually see how I would bend these to figure out how I wanted to make the sculpture. So, and even here, one of my pages has little notes to myself on it. So I thought that was a really unique way to kind of talk about, another part of my practice. And so again, let me show you. So that we were able to include 2 quotes. Anne Truitt, who is an amazing artist, and her books have meant a lot to me, her journals, and the way she talks about her studio practice. And this is one of the quotes that we were able to include in the book. And it's so beautifully done with the typeface that Michael created with my drawings, but also the way that he laid it out actually takes the form of a body or a torso. And so this reads, here where my pencil touches the paper is the place at which a body holds itself intact. The line marks with infinite tenderness the experience of a body, a separate, unknowable experience inside the line, space outside it. And then he put that right before the series of the hand, referring to the touching. And I also love this too. Like I use a lot of pairs in my work, or mirroring. Another one of my favorite pages is here. You can kind of even see through to the other arm drawing in here. So you get this kind of mirroring through the paper. And then this is again another 72 inch by 62 inch painting that's in the Laney Contemporary Show. But Michael and I were able to partner with Institute 193 on this book, and I just want to say thank you so much to them for making this project happen. And so because of the situation we're in right now, several of the book signings and events and talks have been canceled, but hopefully they will be rescheduled in the future. But anyway, thank you all for letting me talk to you about the book and show you a little bit about my work and how it came together. And again, thanks to Susan Laney, Laney Contemporary in Savannah, thanks to Michael Aberman and Frank and Institute 193. And so long.